Hello and welcome to a new, pretty significantly delayed edition of the TWIR Weekly Podcast. I'm looking over at my my last uploaded videos here on my YouTube page, and I haven't uploaded for 3 weeks. So we have a lot to talk about today. So let's just start with the usual NASCAR notes. We were at the ROVAL this past weekend. We're headed to Vegas this week. So hopefully we can get a good stretch all the way to Phoenix of decent races and no playoff shenanigans that makes us look at the playoffs even more horribly. So looking back at the ROVAL, we have Xfinity and Cup. No trucks this week. We'll talk about trucks later. Xfinity Sam Mayer. He was in a must-win situation. And he pulled off his third win of the year, third win on a road course, because he won at Watkins Glen and at Road America, which puts Mayer fourth in the standings now and above the cut line going into Vegas for the Championship 4. And, of course, Daniel Hemrick did the most Daniel Hemrick thing imaginable and lost by inches. Not to Mayer, but he came inches short of advancing. He had to pass two cars on the final lap, Kaz Gralla and who is it? Parker Kligerman, I think. He sets both of them up in the final chicane. Gralla tries to go for the pass. They both slow down. Hemrick gets alongside them, and at the line, Hemrick is only a few inches behind Kligerman and Gralla, who are in a dead heat for, I don't know what it was, like 7th or something. Which meant that Daniel Hemrick is eliminated from the playoffs in the most Daniel Hemrick way possible. He came 2 points. If he had passed those cars going into the backstretch chicane and held on all the way around to the start-finish line, he would have been in. And who was it? Let's see here. Sammy Smith. Either Sammy Smith or Sheldon Creed. It would have been Creed. And then Sheldon Creed would have been eliminated. The other three besides Hemrick that were eliminated were Parker Kligerman, Josh Berry, who was really surprising because he made the Championship 4 last year. He's had kind of a crap season. It's kind of sad because this is his last year in Xfinity. He's going to the 4-car next year to replace Kevin Harvick of all people. He's got some pretty large shoes to fill. So Parker Kligerman, Josh Berry, Daniel Hemrick, and Jeb Burton were eliminated in the round of 12. Cup Series. AJ Allmendinger. Over 9 years after his first win, and over 2 years since his second win. He gets his third win, second in the Kaulig 16 at the Charlotte ROVAL, beating William Byron and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch had to win. The so-called RCR Revenge Tour ended early with Kyle Busch making a round of 12 exit, along with Ross Chastain, out of all people, who made the Championship 4 last year because, Hail Melon happened. So Chastain was eliminated. He only had that one win in Nashville this year and went an incredibly long time without a top 5 after that. He did sneak a top 5 at Texas, but he did finish 37th at Talladega because Harvick was disqualified. But before Harvick was disqualified, he was dead last. So the last at Talladega really killed his momentum. Bubba Wallace was doing really well. Just got shuffled back and wrong place, wrong time. Got into an incident on the backstretch with Cindric, Suarez, and a couple other people. But he is out, and so is Brad Keselowski, and there go my hopes for a winless champ in the playoff era. Was really hoping for Keselowski to make it because I really wanted I wanted a Matt Crafton situation. Because Matt Crafton won the truck championship in 2019 without winning a single race. And in a system that is in a playoff system that is where winning is first and foremost over everything else. You have to win to keep advancing. I really would have loved to see Keselowski go further, but both of the remaining winless playoff drivers, Wallace and Keselowski, are out. AJ Allmendinger mentioned in his post-race interview he doesn't know if this is going to be his final Cup win. He really doesn't know what he's going to do next year. The 16 Cup cars up in the air. He has said before that he's going to do whatever Matt Colleague wants him to do. If that's go back to Xfinity or stay in Cup on a part-time basis or run the road courses, there are fewer road courses next year, so that might play into it a little bit if Allmendinger keeps his seat in the 16, because we already know Daniel Hemrick's going to the 31 to replace Justin Haley, who a lot of people said was committing career suicide by going to Rick Ware, but I think that's really that's an RFK seat for when Keselowski ends up retiring, which I really want to see Keselowski get another win before he retires. But moving on to the playoff pictures. So let's go here. This is a cutoff race, so this segment might be a little longer than usual. Looking at the final round of 12 standings, Nemechek, Allgaier, and Mayer all won in the round of 12. Custer, Hill, Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, and Sheldon Creed made it through on points. Eliminated were Hemrick, Kligerman, Berry, and Burton. Which sets the round of 8 with all the playoff points with John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, and Sam Mayer above the cut line. And then below the cut line right now is Cole Custer -2, Chandler Smith -11, Sheldon Creed -12, and Sammy Smith -14. Keep Sammy Smith in mind, because if he points his way into the championship 4, he could be a threat for the championship. He won the Spring Phoenix race. Really, be really cool to see that happen. See one driver win the championship after 2 wins, only sweeping the 2 dates at a single track. Going on to Cup over here, we have round of 12. Playoff winners in this round were Byron and Blaney. Allmendinger won the Roval, so there's no third winner. Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, and Martin Truex Jr. made it in on points. Martin Truex Jr. has just sneaked his way into the round of 8, and he has somehow gotten into the round of 8 without a single finish better than 17th. For the regular season champion, that is astoundingly bad. We should really be seeing him contending for more wins. We're going to Vegas, which is a track that I think he was good at the in the spring, but I don't really remember. But he's really got to step it up in these last few events. He was really good at Homestead last year. That might be a good place for him to grab some extra points and make it into the championship 4. But the momentum has kind of run out at the at the worst time of the season for Martin Truex Jr. Eliminated were Chastain, Wallace, Keselowski, and Kyle Busch, who had to win, ended up finishing 3rd in that great battle with Byron and Allmendinger. Now we go over to round of 8 standings. Above the cut line are Byron. Truex is back in 2nd, 15 points above the cut line. That's really good because he can use his playoff points to an advantage, and he is back up above the cut line. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson are the other 2. Below the cut line, we have Buescher, Bell, Reddick, and Blaney. This is the time where I really make my championship 4 picks for these 2 series, because for trucks, we already have one driver locked in. I'll do that later. My championship 4 picks for the Cup Series, at least, are Byron, Hamlin, Buescher, and Larson. I don't see Truex making it. He has been horribly inconsistent. Well, he's been consistent, just on the wrong side of the leaderboard. But I really don't see him making the championship. He's got to step up, get some top 10s, get some top 5s. He's probably got to get a win at some point. But I see Buescher making it. He's been really consistent this year. He's only 3 points out going into Vegas. And I know it's Vegas, Homestead, and then Martinsville. So it's still really up in the air. The round hasn't started yet. For Xfinity, I think it's a little bit more clear-cut. I think the championship 4 is going to be Nemechek, Hill, Custer, and Allgaier. All of them have multiple wins. All of them have... I think it's going to be a really close battle for the final championship 4 spot between Mayer and Custer. I doubt that if Sammy Smith can point his way in, he's got a chance at Phoenix because he was really good at Phoenix in the spring. Of course, he won. Creed, I'm not really sure. It's up in the air. Just like his drive for next year. Stay tuned for that. And Chandler Smith, he's only got 1 win of the year. On the year at Richmond. I really don't know where he would end up. But Sammy Smith is the lowest. He's only 14 points out. So everyone's still really close, except for Nemechek, who can basically lock it up. If he doesn't win any of the next 3 races, he can lock up a championship 4 spot at Homestead. He's already 37 points above the cut line. But my championship 4 picks for Xfinity are Nemechek, Hill, Allgaier, and Custer. Let's look at the trucks. They didn't race this week, but we did have a little bit of drama at Talladega, which I did not cover until everything got settled out. Another reason why I delayed this by another week. Corey Heim won at Bristol already locked into the championship 4. Other 3. Carson Hocevar, 23 points above the cut line. Christian Eckes, 9 points above. Nick Sanchez is 3 points above the cut line. Below are Grant Emfinger. He's trying to get GMS Racing one last championship. Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski, and reigning champ Zane Smith is in a must-win situation going into Homestead. Of course, the truck playoff cutoff race is Homestead. And Zane Smith basically has to win for him to make it into Phoenix, which is an incredible difference from how it was last year. Going to the other truck drama, I don't even have trucks on my notes. I'm just looking at the NASCAR website right now. Matt Crafton and Nick Sanchez. This was strange. I need to look at the replay again. But after the race, Crafton's already in street clothes because he wrecked out earlier because of a wreck that was supposedly Sanchez's fault and a wreck that sent Greg Van Alst to the hospital. Crafton's already in street clothes. Sanchez is walking back to the hauler with like friends and family and crew and all that. And Crafton, from what Sanchez said, Crafton comes up behind him, taps him on the shoulder, turns around. Sanchez turns around and Crafton sucker punches him. This turns into a giant fight. We all saw it on Twitter. If you have Twitter, really good video from frontstretch.com. Corey Roper went in there and pulled Sanchez out of it. Sanchez's nose looked broken. Blood coming down his face. Basically looked like he was surprise attacked. We could tell during the race that Crafton wasn't that pleased. He parked his damaged truck in Sanchez's pit box, got out and started yelling at his crew. So, wonder if that did play into it for sure, but Sanchez made some threats. Crafton was fined $25,000. And Sanchez was fined $5,000. And Nick Sanchez's father is suspended for the rest of the season for his involvement in the fight. We don't know what his involvement was, but he is now suspended from any NASCAR sanctioned event until after Phoenix. So, yeah, we had some punishments after that. Going to be interesting to see at Homestead if Sanchez actually retaliates. I kind of would like to see him retaliate. He's kind of a long shot to get into the championship anyway. I know he's above the cut line right now, but I'd kind of like to see him retaliate because what Crafton did was completely uncalled for. All right, we have a lot of silly season stuff to talk about. Live Fast Motorsports. BJ McLeod and Matt Tifft got the deal of the century, selling the worst performing charter in the NASCAR Cup Series to Spire Motorsports for $40 million. That's like buying two charters from the actual sanctioning body, which is absolutely insane. Actually, I don't know if the charter price is 10 million or 20 million. Let me see here. Spire's last charter that it bought, they paid $6 million for. 2311 bought Starcom's charter for $13.5 million in 2021. Adam Stern reported that in November of last year that charters are reportedly priced around $30 million now. Charters typically pay around $5 million annually per car. But they hit $20 million in August of 2022, according to Black Book Motorsport. So yeah, Live Fast got filthy rich off of selling the 78 charter to Spire. They have enough money to run a significant part-time schedule next year, even without sponsors, as an open car, which is awesome. I love small teams, so it's really good to see Live Fast. They're going to be able to continue with this giant injection of money that they have from selling this charter to Spire. We now know what Spire is going to do with that charter. Zane Smith signed a deal with Trackhouse, and he will drive full-time in the Cup Series next year in a third Spire entry. We do not know what the number of this entry is going to be. It would be weird to see the 78 because, one, Live Fast still wants to run, and two, Spire uses the same font that Furniture Row Racing used, and they ran the 78. So I'm thinking the number's either going to be 78, 07, or 70. So I will look back at this video, and I will probably be way off. But other big team sale news: Kyle Busch Motorsports got sold. Spire is in. Spire has spent a lot of money in the last couple weeks. They bought Kyle Busch Motorsports, everything. They bought Rowdy Manufacturing, they bought the shop, they bought the entire truck team, and I believe they bought Chase Purdy's contract. Because Purdy said maybe a month ago that he would still be continuing with KBM. So I think they bought out Chase Purdy's contract. I think Rev Racing's still going to stay with them because Gainbridge, they have a common sponsor in Gainbridge, both Rev Racing and Spire. But Rev Racing runs out of the Kyle Busch Motorsports shop. But that's really interesting. Kyle Busch is still going to run truck races next year. He's still going to run 5 truck races for Spire. We don't know if that's going to be in the 7 or in the or in his own 51, but only time will tell, I guess. We just gotta wait it out, see what the plans are going to be. Sammy Smith is going to leave JGR to drive to replace Josh Berry in the Junior Motorsports number 8 next year. Of course, Berry's going to the 4 to replace Kevin Harvick. That leaves the 18 open. If Trevor Bayne has funding, I wouldn't be surprised if you would see him. I saw an article. So I saw Riley Herbst tweeted a couple weeks ago. He tweeted like soon, like just 2 words, soon. And below that, I swear I saw a tweet from JGR saying that Herbst was going to be back in the 18. Apparently that's wrong, because SHR announced yesterday that Herbst is staying in the 98 next year, which is really good for consistency for SHR because they have everything shuffling around on the Cup side. But so I'm guessing the JGR post was from a parody account, probably. I cannot find the post for the life of me on the Joe Gibbs account. So I think it's a parody account. Daniel Dye is going to McAnally Hilgeman Racing in 2024, staying in the Truck Series. MHR is going to 3 trucks, keeping Christian Eckes. I think Eckes is staying there. And I'm pretty sure Jake Garcia is staying in the 35. So MHR is going to be a 3-truck team. We don't really know what's going to be happening with Raja Caruth or Grant Enfinger yet, because those are the other 2 GMS drivers that are going to be left without a ride. I know Caruth is driving the 17 Hendrick Motorsports Xfinity car at Phoenix. That might be an open ride for him, but we still don't really have any clue to what's going on with where Grant Enfinger is going to go. Worldwide Express and Kubota are staying with Trackhouse for, until 2025, I think is what the tweet said. And last big silly season thing that I saw before recording is that Carson Hocevar is going to move up to the Cup Series in the Spire number 77. And I read this as he's going full-time in the Xfinity Series in the Spire 77. I had to look again because I didn't realize until I saw the tweet for a second time because someone retweeted it. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for silly season. Schedule came out. Finally, both IndyCar and NASCAR. For NASCAR, Bristol is back to concrete for the spring race in 2024. Brickyard 400 is back. As an Indianapolis resident, I am incredibly happy. Iowa Speedway, Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks are going to Iowa next year. Which probably means, in all seriousness, that Iowa is going to be dropped from the IndyCar schedule in 2025 because SMI is going to do what SMI is going to do, lock IndyCar out of their prized track that they've been ignoring for years, so they can't have actual quality oval racing, and then everyone's going to move on. All the IndyCar fans are going to get mad. All the stock car fans are going to be, yeah, screw IndyCar. So yeah, in all fairness, Iowa's probably going to be off the IndyCar schedule in 2024. Because just SMI hating IndyCar, which really doesn't make sense economically, because you would think SMI could make more money from ticket sales from IndyCar running races at their tracks. So yeah, as an oval enjoyer, it's a pain being an IndyCar fan. Speaking of IndyCar, we have IndyCar silly season. Kiffin Simpson. This happened weeks ago. I don't know if I reported this in the last podcast. Kiffin Simpson's going to be in a full-time Ganassi car. The fifth full-time Ganassi entry. Kyle Larson completed his rookie orientation program. This isn't in the notes, but Kyle Larson completed his Indy 500 rookie orientation program yesterday. As of me recording this, I'm recording this on Friday the 13th. Honda said it's going to probably dry up on IndyCar engine leases. I think somebody reported on Racer.com. I don't know if it was Marshall Pruitt or Chris Medland or one of them, but it was Honda saying that with the fifth Ganassi car, they might not let Andretti run a fourth car. So the Andretti Steinbrenner 29 might not be on the grid next year just because Honda might be out of engine leases. Or they're not going to be willing to give anymore. Don Cusick, another small team owner. Don Cusick wants to go to the Thermal Club for the IndyCar quote-unquote all-star race next year. We're assuming it's going to be with Dreyer and Reinbold, and we're assuming the driver is going to be Stefan Wilson, who by March is probably going to be healed from his back injury that he suffered at the 500. We're not in the 500, in Monday practice. Oliver Askew and Christian Rasmussen tested for ECR or Ed Carpenter Racing as the 20 car. Still doesn't have a driver next year, so it might be Askew or Rasmussen. Even though the schedule's already out, a non-points Argentina race in Argentina could still be added to the schedule, but they just had to announce all the points-paying races when the schedule came out. Speaking of the schedule, they released it, and we are mad. As a collective group of IndyCar fans, NASCAR once again screwed us over by wanting the Texas date in spring because because apparently they just found out that the heat from holding the Texas race in September is unbearable. So they moved the race to like April or something, and they don't want Texas doesn't want to have the two doesn't want to have their two big events back to back on back to back weekends or the same weekend. And also they wanted to fit a Texas date in the summer sometime in like July for IndyCar, but they couldn't because NBC would not have the broadcasting time because NASCAR and IndyCar are both having 2-week breaks next year because of the Olympics. So Texas being on the IndyCar schedule got screwed over because of NASCAR meddling, the Olympics, and them keeping Nashville as the season finale. They also want to reprofile the track. I've heard talks of it being turned into what Atlanta Motor Speedway is now. I've heard talks of it being reverted back to what it was pre-2018. Could really go either way. Don't know. Really want to see the pre-2018 one because 2017, 2016, and even 2015 were absolute bangers of IndyCar races at Texas. So hopefully, pray this is a one-year thing, that Texas will be back on the schedule in 2025, and we will have Texas alongside the Milwaukee Mile again. Milwaukee is back, and to fill the void left by Texas, it's going to be a doubleheader. There are going to be two races that are going to be exclusively on Peacock next year. Toronto, which is, the only international race, which makes sense. It would only be on Peacock because it's the one like outsider over everything else. But Milwaukee Race 2 is going to be exclusively on Peacock. So that's going to be interesting in terms of TV ratings. And, we all live and die by the TV ratings because TV ratings are good. The sport's back into an economic boom. And if they're down, we're all going to fail and the series is going to stop. So, yay, TV ratings. Pato Award is going to get a Formula One free practice outing with McLaren at some point this season. Not sure if it's going to be in like Austin or Vegas or Abu Dhabi. It was not in Qatar. Can confirm. Because I wrote this in the note sheet 3 weeks ago. So it was not in Qatar. So it's got to be in either Vegas, Austin, Abu Dhabi, or I think Brazil. I think it would make more sense if it was a race in North America. I doubt it would be Vegas because it's a new track. All the drivers want as much track time as possible. So I don't think Norris or Piastri would be willing to vacate the car for Award for a 30-minute practice session at Vegas. So it's probably going to be at Austin at Circuit of the Americas. So look out for that. That I have gone all the way through everything that is not stashed into the other news thing. IMSA confirmed 65 entry submissions a few weeks ago. This has actually been updated. As Graham Goodwin put out on Daily Sports Car. Where is it? Where's the article? I can't find it. But the maybe it's on Sports Car 365. There are a record-breaking like 40-some entries full season because they're getting rid of LMP3. Thank God. LMP3 was terrible. Those are the only cars on the track that I really did not like. They were ballast. They were there for no reason. So Spa-Francorchamps is staying on as the Belgian Grand Prix until 2025. So we're looking at, there it is, 2024 IMSA entry list in full. I'll do this in a second part of the podcast that I'll release tomorrow. But we have 11 GTP cars for most of the endurance events. Because we have the 10 from now, minus Meyer Shank, adding a second Wayne Taylor car. But Iron Lynx is going to debut the Lamborghini LMDH. There are 12 entries in 2024 for LMP2. PR1 Mathiasen, I had this in the notes that they were looking for a bronze driver, and I was going to do this like funny little ad. And then right as I sit down to start recording, I go on Daily Sports Car and I see that Inter Europol has already locked up a deal. So Inter Europol competition is going to be running in North America next year with PR1 Mathiasen. Nothing really interesting here. AF Corsa is, I think this is Francois Perotto's LMP2 car. That's going to be select events only, and then AO Racing, PJ Hyatt. Since there's going to be different driver regulations for GTD next year, they're actually moving the bronze program up to LMP2. PJ Hyatt is going to be in the 99. GTD Pro. Nothing interesting, really. Well, actually, no, there's a lot of interesting stuff here. Corvette Racing, Pratt Miller. It's not going to be known as Corvette anymore. Petit Le Mans this year is going to bring an end to 25 years of factory Corvette racing. Because for reasons I cannot understand, works outfits, or factory outfits, are not allowed to compete at Le Mans anymore. It's only a Pro-Am effort that's allowed to compete at Le Mans in the GT class. I really don't get that. But in IMSA, that means that Corvette's back up to 2 cars. Hopefully the silver number 4 comes back. Really love that paint scheme. Paul Miller Racing's moving up to GTD Pro. So there's 2 Corvettes. Pfaff Motorsports is switching from Porsche to McLaren. Vassar Sullivan's staying the same. Iron Lynx has a part-time Lamborghini. Risi Competizione is doing the Endurance Cup events again. Ford Multimatic is back. Yay. Proton Competition is going to run the 64 and 65 Ford Mustang GT3s. Sun Energy 1's moving up to the Pro class. AO Racing is going to run the 77 Porsche, and one of the Kelly Moss with Riley Porsches is moved up to Pro. So that is 13 entries, 10 of them full-time. Going to GTD, there's a lot. New additions, Andretti's full-time in what I assume is their Aston Martin. There's another WTR Andretti car, the number 45. Magnus Racing's back. MDK Motorsports is back. AF Corsa, Triarci, Cetelar, Iron Lynx, and the Iron Dames are going to be the Michelin Endurance Cup only cars. There's a lot to talk about here. I'm going to do a separate video about the IMSA entry list. Hopefully. But that's it for IMSA on the entry list side. Mick Schumacher might go to the Alpine LMDH effort in the World Endurance Championship, but he will still remain on that very important payroll as a Mercedes F1 reserve driver. Ben Keating has left PR1 Matheson, and he's joined United Autosports for IMSA next year. Rocket phones, this really isn't important, but I saw it over the weekend one time. They refiled their legal case against Williams F1 because 2020 preseason testing they had the logo on the car. COVID happens. They come back in Austria. Williams comes back, and the logo's not on the car. Rocket had payment troubles in IndyCar with AJ Foyt Racing, which forced Tatiana Calderon's part-time car to shut down mid-season. Part-time team to shut down mid-season. Honda Performance Development. The American branch of Honda Racing is now Honda Racing Corporation US. They've rebranded, and they are looking to go to the WEC, probably with Wayne Taylor. Wouldn't be surprised. Ryo Hirakawa, in an interesting turn of events, is now a McLaren F1 reserve driver. Really did not see this coming. And it's just a weird bit of F1 news. WRT won the Indy 8 Hour. I was going to cover the Indy 8 Hour. If I remembered correctly what weekend it was on. I forgot what weekend it was on. I thought it was this coming weekend. It was last weekend. I remembered Petit Le Mans this weekend having 2 big sports car events going on at the same time is not the best for the multi-driver aspect. Andretti survived its F1 entry bid, so it is now going to the teams. Wouldn't be surprised if some of the teams vote no, but still waiting to be seen. Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda will be at AlphaTauri next year. The team will not be called AlphaTauri. We don't know who's going to buy the team or who's going to sponsor the team because it's not going to be Red Bull's clothing line anymore. But they're still going to keep their 2 drivers. So that's good news for consistency. Porsche, said no more customer 963s for next year's sports car season. And that, I think, is it for all of our news. We have about 5 minutes left, so let's go to our unexpected news of the week. This is a new segment. There's a Twitter burner account going around. At least I'm not monetized, so I can't get in trouble with YouTube if I say the account name. Private Porno 69. What an insane burner account this is. Whoever is behind this account predicted the KBM Spire sale 2 days before it happened. And Carson Hocevar going to the 77. They were wrong about Riley Herbst going to the Cup Series with Rick Ware. What we are waiting for confirmation on their takes are AM Racing. They were right on the first part, Haley Deegan, but we don't know if the 25 is going to be an all-star car or not, if Brett Moffitt's going to stay there. And there's a tweet that says, yes, no, maybe Ryan Sieg. So I really don't. It's about Frankie Muniz. Wouldn't be surprised if he moves up to Xfinity or Trucks, but with RSS, I think he's got a really good shot. Monster Energy did a really stupid paint scheme reveal for Riley Herbst's Talladega car. It's like a bunch of the Monster girls washing in like booty jean shorts, washing off Riley's old scheme, and they wash the paint off, and underneath it, it's the new paint scheme. So I just thought that was kind of stupid. It's a cool idea. They just did it like as provocative as possible. Anyway, that is everything. We have about 42. Well, we're at about 42 minutes right now. Out of 45. So that's enough time for YouTuber plugs. Have to do this because, YouTuber stuff. But make sure to if you enjoyed listening, make sure to like the video, subscribe so you don't miss any more. I promise it will not be 3 weeks before I upload another one. I'm gonna do a Q&A next week, so comment down below questions for next week's Q&A. If they're good enough, I will answer them. And I've also got a new segment for next week titled Hot Takes. Comment your hot takes down below in the comment section. I will also use them. My hot take for this week. Do I even have one? I don't have anything that's like incredibly controversial. Oh, yeah, I do. Stingray Rob deserves to be in the 51 next year. I really don't care what people think. Stingray Rob has done a way better job at the end of this IndyCar season. At the end of the IndyCar season than he did at the beginning. Because, like, out of the first 7 races, I think he DNF'd 6 of them. He's gotten a lot better, a lot more consistent. He ran really well at Laguna Seca. So, really hoping to see him in the 51 next year. And that's my hot take. He deserves to be in the 51 next year. He's getting better. So, comment your hot takes and your questions down below. That is it. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow when I talk about both the IndyCar and NASCAR schedules in another what's probably going to be half hour, 45-minute podcast. So I will see you guys in the next podcast or video or whatever I upload next. So bye.